my little yarnivores and spiderettes. Fiber Spider back again with another tutorial just for you. Now, with the warmer season approaching, I'm going to try to, do some tutorials on things that are not reliant upon the weather. So we're going to do some bags. And today's tutorial is for the Bento bag. It is very, very, very simple and very quick to make. And the beauty of this project is you can make this bag with just a rectangle, basically. I've seen a lot of tutorials where they're using fabric, and I thought, well, we create fabric, don't we? So with a basic rectangle shape, you can make one of these bags. Now, the first one that I created, by the way, I did this one in just an evening. It goes really, really fast. I used the corner to corner stitch technique, and I created a rectangle. And then with some sewing, I managed to make this bag. Also, using the same corner to corner stitch, I created the handle as well. And this, however, did require some sewing, as you can see. I had to sew on the handle, and also going to turn it inside out real quick. And now the seaming is almost invisible, but it is there. All right, let me see if I can actually find it. Ah, here it is. See, it's that well hidden for this particular piece, but it is there. So if you look closely, this line right here is where it was seamed together. You see? All right, so now I thought to myself, who wants to sew? Well, I don't. Not often. No, I do not want to sew. So I thought, well, we could go back to our old reliable, the granny squares. And with this piece, what I did was I did a join as you go method with granny squares. So this entire piece, not one bit of sewing. The only sewing, quote unquote, that I had to do for the entire project was the sewing in of some ends, and not many. So this project was a lot of fun to do. By the way, the yarn that I used for this particular project was Craft Smart, and this was Caron Cakes, the Caron Big Cakes, and I used less than a full big cake for this entire project. It's very, very simple, very, very easy, and also I didn't even have to sew on the handle for this piece either. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how you can make one of these bags. Going to show you in the granny square method. However, you can really use whatever you want as long as you end up with a rectangle. So without further ado, let's get started. Alrighty, so this is actually to give you a basic idea of what we're going to be working with. Now, yes, this is 3 granny squares. However, this is not what you exactly want to do, because if I left it like this, you would still need to do some sewing. But you can see that I did a little bit of join as you go joining for these squares. Now, the basic shape, the dimensions that you need for your rectangle, you need a 1 by 3 dimension, okay? And now when I did the corner to corner, okay, I did the exact same thing. I went X number of squares, and then I did X number of squares. So it was a 1 by 3 ratio. I'm going to put in the description box of this video a link to the corner to corner scarf that I did, because that would be, I think, the easiest way of explaining it, because it was a rectangle that I was doing, okay? Now, with your rectangle, whether it's granny squares or corner to corner or any other stitch, the only thing that I would really recommend is that it's nothing too terribly open as far as laciness, because you're going to be using it as a bag, unless if you are savvy with sewing and you can line the bag. So basically what this boils down to is you would be taking your rectangle, okay, and then It's a matter of manipulating the corners. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to fold this corner down and this corner up. Okay. Then one more step would be to fold. I'm going to go with the left side, folding this up like so. And this is the shape and size of the finished blanket. And I know I do a lot of quotes because, well, it's just part of my shtick. All right, so then this would be the size and shape of your bag. Now keep in mind, we still have two sides that would need to be sewn. It would be this white side to this gray side, and then on the other side, let me just flip it over, this pink side to this gray side. And that's why I want to show you how you can do the join as you go method so that you don't have to worry about any sort of sewing. And the trick is getting this side to this side, and this side to this side done in the join as you go. That's a little bit tricky, so I'm going to show you in this tutorial how to do that. Now, if you have a rectangular piece in a 1x3 dimension, you can use whatever stitch you want. All right, but I'm just going to show you how to do this because it is fabulous because you don't have to do any sewing whatsoever. And then after our bag is, put together and completed, in a much smaller version, of course, I'm going to show you how to do the handle as well. Okay, so with that being said, now also I'm going to put a link to how to make a granny square. Basically, for those of you that already know how to make one, I started with a chain 4, slip stitch to the first chain, and then, creating a ring, chain up 3, 2 more double crochets within the ring, and, did 3 chains, then 3 double crochets, 3 chains, 3 double crochets for the beginning center, okay? And the corners, I did a chaining of 3. In between my clusters, I did a chain of 1. And for this particular demo, I did a total of 4 rounds. Now, I happen to have one of these already ready, okay, because I know that most of you already know how to do the granny stitch for the squares. Now, I also happen to have, for the sake of symmetry, I have 2 squares that I already did 3 rounds on because it's the 4th round, or, however big that your project wants to be. It's, the 4th round is where you're going to be doing the join as you go. All right. So I did 4 complete rounds for my middle square. Now for the 2 side squares, for the sake of symmetry, I decided on pink for both of them, okay, instead of with the white. So with that being said, we have our middle square, and then we're going to have our 2 side squares. Now, keep in mind, as far as the dimensions, if you're not sure just how big you want your square to be, or how big you want the, the dimensions of your 1x3 to be, well, keep this in mind. When you take your middle square, okay, and you fold it into a triangle, okay, whatever the dimension is from tip to base, that is going to be however high the base of your bag is going to be. Now, let me show you real quick, because I have a much bigger square right here. So the tip to the base of the square, that is how high the bag will be, the depth of the bag. So if you want it to be really deep, well, it's also going to be very wide because it's a square. That's just the nature of the beast, okay? Now, I know I'm doing a lot of talking and not a lot of stitching at the moment, but it's more of a formula than an actual pattern, okay? And I just want to be very clear so that you can make this however which way you want. I don't want to give you restrictions. I want you to think outside of the box and really try to make this your own project. For the sake of this tutorial, yes, we're doing grannies, but you can really do whatever you want. So keep in mind, like I said, that from the tip to the base, that is going to be the depth of your bag. And then the 2 other squares, are going to make up the sides and the height. All right. So let's get started with the final rounds of these two squares and attach them in the join as you go manner. All right, let's do this. Alrighty, so by the way, I am using Pound of Love by Lion Brand and a size H 5mm hook. And so I already did my 3 initial rounds and going to do the 4th round so that we can join it to this square. Now, I'm starting after doing the slip stitches across here and into the corner. I'm going to start by chaining up 3 and 2 more double crochets. Whoop, hello. To create our first cluster. Chain 3 and then 3 more doubles for our second cluster. Because you got to start from somewhere, but you don't want to start right at the join, otherwise you're going to have issues. Alrighty, and then going to work our way down to the corner over here in the usual granny style. So after doing your 3 doubles, chain 1, 3 doubles into the next chain 1 space, and so forth until we reach the next corner. And yes, I know, I could have shown you how to do the corner to corner style of this, but like I said, it involves sewing, and I know that a lot of you are not a huge fan of sewing together projects, so I thought this might be a nice way of sort of diverting that. All right, and then chain 1, and then we've reached this corner, so going in, after doing your chain 1, of course, 3 double crochets, okay, so now we have our base square, which is now a triangle because we folded it in half. Okay, so what we want to do is we want to go directly from here and join to this square. I folded it as such, and we're going to join to not one of these side points, but to the top point. Okay, so going to go directly in, and sorry, it's kind of difficult to do this holding it up and so forth. Going to go in and do a slip stitch to this square. Okay, so basically what I'm doing is I'm holding them. This is the front side and the front side, holding them together like a little sandwich. And just going into that space with a slip stitch, and then going directly into this corner again with 3 doubles. And then going into the next gray chain space with a slip stitch. And then 3 double crochets into the next pink chain space. And then slip stitch into the next gray space. And then 3 doubles into the next pink space. Then slip stitch into the next gray space. And then 3 doubles into the next pink space. Okay, Then chain 1, slip stitch into the gray corner because we've reached the corner. Okay, so chain 1, slip stitch into the gray corner, chain 1, and then go back in to the same pink space with 3 doubles. And we're still connecting as we go. So slip stitch into the next gray space, 3 doubles into the next pink space, slip stitch into the next gray space, 3 doubles into the next pink space, slip stitch into the next gray space, 3 doubles into the corner of the pink space, okay, and since we've reached the corners, so chain 1, slip stitch into the corner of the gray, chain 1, then into that same pink corner, 3 doubles, and we are not going to continue to connect from the pink to the gray. We're just going to work our way to the beginning where we started. So chain 1, 3 doubles into the pink, and we're going to leave the gray alone for now. Chain 1, 3 doubles into the pink, chain 1, and slip stitch into the top third chain, slip stitch right into there to finish our round. Now, as you can see, we've got a bit of a sandwich going on here, and it's connected on 2 sides with no sewing, which to me is a fabulous thing. All right, so now keep in mind that our gray piece was originally folded into a triangle. So when you fold it in half, like so, and it's in its original triangular form, we have our pink is also following suit, being a triangle as well. Okay, and the handle is going to be attached up here. Okay, so that being said, we now need to join the second pink triangle along this side and along this side. So let's get to it, folks. Alrighty. Alrighty, so we have our 2 sandwiched squares, and I'm going to open them up like so. And I'm just going to set them to the side for now, and we're going to continue on with our square here. We've already done the 3 rounds. Well, we need to do the 4th, but we need to start the 4th before we can start doing the join as you go method. So again, I started in the corner with that slip stitch. I'm going to chain up 3, 1, 2, 3, 2 more double crochets for the first cluster, chain 3, 3 double crochets into the same space, there we go, chain 1, 3 doubles into the next space, and so forth, moseying our way along just like we did with that first pink one. Chain 1, 3 doubles into the next space, chain 1, and 3 doubles into the corner. And it's at this point that we need to grab our pre-existing piece. All right, now going to go in, and again, we need to sandwich this because this is going to be, well, this is the right side, and this is the right side. So we need to sandwich them together like so. So we got right side, right side. Okay. Now, yes, it's a little bit fiddly, but it is worth it. Okay, so going in directly from here, making a slip stitch into the gray, like so, and then 3 doubles into the pink. Okay, slip stitch into the gray, and then 3 doubles into the pink. Slip stitch into the next gray space. 3 doubles into the pink. Now, of course, you can use whatever colors, but I wanted to go for simplicity and symmetry at the same time. Okay, now slip stitch into the gray. That, and I happen to have a bunch of this lying around, this yarn, so I figured, yeah, let's use it. All right, and then after slip stitching into the gray, 3 doubles into the pink. Chain 1. Slip stitch into that gray corner. Chain 1. 3 doubles into the pink. Okay, and we need to join this side as well. So, into the next gray space, not the corner, but into the next gray space, slip stitch. 3 doubles into the next pink space. Slip stitch into the next gray space. Three doubles into the next pink space. Slip stitch into the next gray space. 3 doubles into the corner pink space. Okay. Slip stitch into the gray. Come on. There we go. And then 3 doubles into the same pink space. One more. Okay, and now just going to finish off the rest of this row just working on the pink. Okay, so chain 1, 3 pink doubles, chain 1, 3 pink doubles. Now this would make a really cute little purse for a small person. Wouldn't make a very good grocery bag, but, cute little play purse or a little play bag, this would be really an awesome size. So after chaining 1, slip stitch into the top 3rd chain of our first double, like so, and slip stitch, shaboom, and I already cut my end, so no problem. Boop. Alrighty, so now, with a little bit of fiddling and finagling, we have our bag. Now, what I would recommend, because when you're doing the join as you go, it tends to create a bit of a ridge. Well, what I like to do is I like to turn it inside out and then straighten up my corners a little bit. And now, at least to me, it almost looks quilted, the way it sort of poofs out here and here and goes in at the seams. And it's very nice and neat. And we have ourselves a little bag. It's so adorable. I love it. Now, another thing that you can quite potentially do is if you have a really wide piece, what you can do is you can actually, like if it's a more solid fabric, you can stitch across your corners, okay, before turning it right side out like I did. You can stitch across your corners and then turn it inside out, and you can create a flat-bottomed bag, okay? That is another thing that you can totally do. But from here, I'm going to sew in my end, and then I'm going to show you how you can create the handle, which of course you don't even have to do. Technically what you can do is you can join these 2 points together, just sew them together, and this could be your handle. You know, if these triangles, these 2 pink triangles are much bigger, it's a much more viable option. However, because this is quite so small, we are actually going to create a strap. Okay, so let's do that now, shall we? Alrighty. All right, so when you're all set and ready to do the handles, we're actually going to work directly into these 3 spaces. Doesn't matter which point, quite frankly. And so I'm going to just tuck this one in here for now so that we can work on this one a bit easier using the same size hook. And what we're going to do is we're going to go directly into, because we've got these 1, 2, and 3 spaces, we're going to work into this 3rd one right here. And I'm going to grab my yarn and going to start by pulling up a loop and chaining up 3. 1, 2, 3 for my first double crochet. And then into that same space, 2 more double crochets for my first cluster. Then, following suit with the granny stitch, chain 1, and then into the center, 3 double crochets. Now, is this going to look perfect? I would honestly say no, but it is a strap, okay? People are not going to be examining it that closely. At least I don't think so. So after doing 3 doubles, chain 1, 3 doubles, chain 1, 3 doubles into the next space, and that is going to create the foundation for our strap, like so. Then, following suit with doing the granny stitch in rows as opposed to rounds, chain up 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, turn the work, and we're going to be working into these 2 spaces now, these 2 chain 1 spaces. So into the first space, 3 doubles, chain 1, 3 doubles into the next chain 1 space. Now, by all means, if you have another method of creating your handle, hey, by all means, go for it. I will not stifle your creativity, not by a long shot. So then again, chain 1, and we're going to do a double crochet into the third chain up from where we started. Now this part is a little bit fiddly, but with a little bit of tenacity, you can get it. There we go. So right into that top third chain, do a double crochet, and you can always pull your tail a little bit taut, no problem. So now we've got 2 rows, and it's just a matter of continuing on by chaining up 3, turning the work, and into that first chain 1 space, 2 more double crochets for the first cluster, chain 1, 3 double crochets into the next space, chain 1, and 3 double crochets into the last space. Chain up 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, turn the work, 3 doubles into this first space, that's 1, 2, 3, chain 1, 3 doubles into the next space, chain 1, and then do a double crochet into the top third chain of this end double crochet. Like so. And just keep going on in this same fashion as long as you want your strap to be. And then I will show you how you can go about joining this end to this side. All right. So the beauty of this is, you can just keep going and going and going, and you can try on your bag and you can hold this end to this point and see, all right, is it long enough? No, yes, maybe so. So keep going until your strap, your handle is long enough, and then we shall continue. Alrighty. Alrighty, so we are at the home stretch. Now I did a bunch of rows and I ended with a row where I did the chaining of 4, 3 double crochets, chain 1, 3 double crochets, chain 1, and double crochet into that last chain 3, okay? Because where we started, we had 3 clusters. Well, we need 3 clusters again to fill this space, and this space. Now, here's the trick with joining. This caused me, this was an interesting challenge to figure out. Now, like I said, is it perfect? No, but it works, okay? And no sewing. Yes, that's the beauty of it. So we're going to start by chaining up 3, and that's going to count as our first double crochet. Now here's the trick. Okay, what we need to do is, all right, see, we started like this. Now we have our other loop. We need to connect it to here, right? And keep in mind, we're going to be working within this space, and this space. We're going to go into this space here. So I'm sort of turning my work, and I know this probably is not translating well to video, but this is how my bag is, okay? And we're going to turn our work like this, okay? Yes, I know. I'm not a professional. All right, so we're going to be working into this space, and this space, these top 3 spaces of this point. So after chaining up 3 to act as our first double, slip stitch into this first space to connect our double. Okay, then double crochet into that same space as we had done before with previous rows, like so, and then slip stitch into the pink space again, and then go back and double crochet into the gray space again, and then slip stitch into the pink space again. And that makes it really nice and secure. Let me show you. And no sewing required. Yep, that's what we like to see. All right, so then going back, going to chain 1, and then double crochet into the next gray space. And then slip stitch into the middle pink space. Double crochet into that gray space. Slip stitch into the pink space. Double crochet into the gray space. Slip stitch into the pink space. Chain 1. Double crochet into the last gray space. Slip stitch into the next pink space. Double crochet into the gray. Ooh, it rhymed. Slip into the pink. Double crochet into the gray. Whoop, lost it. Double crochet into the gray. And then slip into the pink space. And there you go. And so now our piece is completely joined, nice and securely, no sewing required. The only sewing that you really have to do is after you cut this end, just sew in your end. Boom, shaboom, all done. Love it, love it. And so now, as you can see, we have ourselves a little bag. How cute is that? Absolutely precious. Very, very simple. And you can make this really whatever size you want. You know, it's just a matter of following the dimensions of the 1x3, and you can make whatever size bag you want. Now, as you can see, what I was saying before about folding your square in half along the diagonal, that is the depth of your bag. Now, it's not very deep, granted. However, if you make bigger squares, well, then you end up with a deeper bag, you know, totally up to you. And of course, you know, by proxy, you would have a taller bag and a wider bag as well. So keep that in mind when you're trying one of these yourself. And I really hope that you do give it a try because this is a lot of fun. This could be a great stash buster. The only thing I would suggest, of course, is use the same weight of yarn so that your dimensions are not completely wonky. But it's a lot of fun. Would like you, to also try it. And if you line it, it would look really great, but also it would have more reinforcement as far as strength is concerned, and then you wouldn't have to worry about it stretching. Okay, so listen, with that in mind, I really hope that you enjoyed this tutorial / formula kind of thing, because it wasn't quite a pattern. It was more of a formula on how to do this. So if you liked it, excuse me, if you liked it, please give me a little thumbs up button down below because I appreciate your support and I appreciate your appreciation. And also do hit subscribe because I try to post videos as often as I can, whether it's crocheting or knitting or audiobook narration, or please do visit my other YouTube channel, Fiber Spider Games, where I do video game playthrough and commentary. A lot of fun. Would like to see you there. Also, check out my Etsy store. I don't have much up at the moment, but hey, things do change, periodically, and I hope to get some things up relatively soon. And with that being said, I want all of you to stay inspired, stay caffeinated, and above all, stay stitching. I love you guys, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.